The hardest thing in the world is not painting. It's not painting. So right now I have two puppies that I am trying desperately to train so that we have them, you know, going down the right path. You have to start out right from the beginning. It's an awful lot of work. And when I get them trained up, hopefully they can come with me when I go painting and be little buddies for me. But right now, it's a lot of time and dedication, and I'm having a very hard time just finding some time to get back to what I really love, which is painting. So hopefully soon I'll be able to paint and have my dogs with me at the same time. Anyway, I hope to do a small video for you, and I'll include this little whatever segment in there, kind of explaining why my videos have slowed down lately. But we'll be getting them back up there, I assure you. Thanks for sticking with me. So this is my bigger Nugo wave. And of course I have a board back here that I'm using for watercolor. If I want to, I can tape things to it. What I have is I've made it into a tabletop at the moment because I'm painting inside. So I just simply screwed this down so that it can't move and I can put whatever I want on it. And in doing that, I probably will not use the side trays. But if I want to, I can tape a piece of canvas on here, or I could put a piece of watercolor paper on there and paint. And I still have the ability to push it up and down however I want this to move back and forth. And I have all this surface area here. I have cut down a piece of palette paper so that it fits in here. Unfortunately, it's just a little short. I could fit one in here perfectly, cutting it perfectly, but I would have to really tear apart a very big piece and waste an awful lot of it. So I'd rather have a smaller piece and waste, or at least have this little area that's not covered. Is that necessary? No, but I really prefer to just pick it up and throw it out and put a fresh piece down than to have to scrape all that stuff off and clean it and make a mess with my fingers. It's just me. Anyway, yeah, so I mean, this still comes off just like it's supposed to, and you can still pull the palette out of there if you want to. This moves. But for now, I'm just doing it this way so that I can use it as an inside. But underneath there is the little hole that you can screw down into your tripod and use this for plein air work. That's what it's really for. Anyway, I'll let you see what we might get started with. A photo I took from my neighbor's yard at the beginning of the summer. So this is just a little drawing of a flower scene. These flowers are mostly white with some yellow in the centers. And there's lots of leaves behind there. There's a small amount of the building showing through. It doesn't really matter whether we know it's a building, but there's some light here and there, patches. So we're getting blocked in here. This is going to be the building. This will be the sky, the leaves. Doesn't have to be exactly like the painting or like the photo, which is right here. It's not important to be precise right now. Just get some of the yellow color in there. Now I'm going to lay a little bit of oil paint over the acrylic and we'll see what we get. So there's this little finished painting, just a little quick sketch to see if I want to do a bigger one. Here's a little watercolor of some pretty little lavender flowers. Just a very quick sketch, something to get my juices flowing and my ideas going through my head so I can be creative without worrying about detail. So just a small sketch. of a photo that I took at Brooker Creek, I believe. No, wait a minute, where was this? I think this was actually at Anderson Park on the walkway there. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to try to do this in watercolor. See how it turns out. So being a watercolor, I had to put several layers on this. Starting with light, going to medium, and finally to dark, to give it the impression of layered leaves. It is a very busy painting. I kind of wish I had a spot in it somewhere that was a little bit less busy, but unfortunately between all of the shadows and the dappled light and the millions of leaves that are in the forest, there really isn't a big place to rest your eyes. Probably mostly in the front here, where these bigger leaves and bigger shadow shapes are. But in this case, that's the way the scene was. Yes, I'm shutting that door because there's a wasp out here on the porch, as usual. Even while I'm in my screened porch, I'm dealing with nature. And my chair broke, my rocking chair, if you can believe that. I don't know how this could possibly happen, but it must have been glued together instead of honed out of one piece, because this part of the rocker is broken off my chair, shockingly. Maybe I can glue it back together, who knows. So I'm sitting here kind of lopsided. Why am I out on my porch? Well, because I'm trying to show you how, even if you can't go out and paint on some great excursion, or maybe join the plein air convention out in Colorado, or God knows where they have it this year, California, and spend thousands and thousands of dollars so you can become inspired by the great outdoors, you can just sit on your back porch and be inspired by almost anything. I could paint this beautiful orchid right here. And as the sun's going to come over in just a few minutes, you will see light shining through it. So some of the leaves will be dark because they are overlapping each other, and others will be golden yellow because the sun will be striking through them. And others will be white on the tips because the sun is hitting the top of them. So that could be something to paint, just a study of that. Or I could paint behind that if I want to, and go and paint just this beautiful light shining on the edge of the pond there, where the water is shallow and there's some debris buildup and it's catching more light than the darker water is. There's reflections and shadows. You could pick anything. Bam, there's a picture. Bam, there's a picture. Something like that through that, where the leaves in the front, that's a painting. There's paintings everywhere. I can't zoom in too much because it will actually pick up the screen. But there's a little birdie here that when he steps into the water, his reflection will be coming over the water. I could paint these trees over here, the bushes and the leaves, how the light is hitting the top of them and through them. I could paint the water back there if I want with the fountain. I mean, it's endless, endless. You decide. Something simple or something complicated. And simple usually comes out even more beautiful. People can look at giant, beautiful vistas in photographs, but they won't get that personalized small thing that you hone in on if you paint it something simple. Ducks will come by here, turtles will come by here. I've often wanted to paint, see here again we have the screen in the way. I've often wanted to paint these turtles when they collect over here. There's like sometimes 10 or 12 of them. They're huge, all laying in the sun with light shining off their shells. These are just simple things, but you have simple things in your backyard too, or your front yard, or inside your home. Your table with some fruit on it in the morning. Anything. So think about coming up with something simple to paint, right in your own domain. Right, Maisie? Uh-huh. Where's your brother? Well, there he is. I could paint my doggy. So I just sat here and quickly did a line drawing of my doggies. Terrible, but I'm just getting the basic ideas. Which one was laying down, the other one was kind of sitting up. Horrible. Over here. Here's the orchid. No flowers on it at this time of year, but just that branch that's hanging there. I don't know if you can see it backlit like that, but just to get the idea where the darks are on it and the lights are on it. Just sit here and sketch. Practice your sketching. I could do the little cactus here. This is interesting, looking at just the shadow that's thrown on the ground by the orchid. So find something interesting and paint it or draw it. You can go in the house and paint it afterward, or you could sit out here like I think I'm going to do and just go over this little orchid just for the fun of it. Of course, the air conditioner had to go on right now, right in the middle of this. But I have my water out here, my pencil, there's wash in case I need it. A small little watercolor kit here, just a little amateur kit. And my little book. And I'll just sit here with my tiny little brush and paint tiny little painting. So just a small exercise in mixing colors, in trying to get the perspective on these leaves up here on the bush or on the stem. Not a perfect job, doesn't really matter. An exercise to help you relax and learn to draw a little better. It's a little quiet around my house right now. A little too quiet. I'm gonna go check and see what those dogs are up to. My tiny little orchid painting. Nothing to it, just 3 shades of green, a yellow, and a tiny little bit of white gouache, just to show where those leaves were originating from. Other than that, just maybe a 10-minute little chicken scratch. But I learned some things because I had to pay attention really closely. For instance, these leaves right here, they come around the bush right there. I did not know that. Now I do. When I go to draw the leaf, I know it's actually hooked around on the other side as well. You can't see it, but it's almost like it's wrapped around the stem. So that's something that I didn't know. Also, the way these leaves twist and turn around each other is interesting. How the more it's twisted, the different it accepts the light from the sun through it and on top of it. So this was kind of a fun, quickie little exercise that I enjoyed very much. You can do it too. Just takes a few seconds and you learn a little bit about drawing every single time you sketch. You don't have to go and read a book. You don't even have to watch a video. You can just teach yourself. Even if you're drawing just one leaf, nothing else but that leaf right there. How does it twist up and back and forward again? And when it does, how does it catch the light? No, this is not a good painting. This is just a tiny little sketch to give me some practice in perspective. So I use watercolors to capture a scene, to encapsulate a memory or a moment in time. It doesn't take a lot of time, energy, equipment. It doesn't take a lot of space. When I want to save it, it could be in my little books or just on a flat piece of paper that's kept in my watercolor drawer. It helps me to save the memories of places that I've been without feeling guilty, like, oh my gosh, what if I do a painting and it doesn't come out right? I have to put a lot of forethought and time into thinking about how I want it to come, or, you know, where am I going to store it? This isn't going to be something that would be sold. It's just something that I want to keep for myself. So this way I can paint guilt-free, basically. Because when I start a big painting, I know I've got to put this painting somewhere and, you know, hopefully it will sell so that it's not just taking up space in my house. And maybe one of these little watercolors will remind me of something really, really special about that day, and I will go ahead and paint a big painting from it. But they don't all have to be giant paintings. They could just be quick sketches. I don't have to feel guilty whether I'm doing a perfect job on it or not. I just capture the moment and have some fun, and it's over and done with. So that's what I'm trying to show you here. Practice, 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 and you'll get better and better. And you'll really enjoy yourself because you'll take the pressure off of trying to do perfection. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I hope you try it yourself. Get some gouache or watercolor out and just relax and enjoy yourself. Or, if nothing else, just sketch with a little pencil. Have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one. And remember, you can paint too.